Bam! We are live.
Live. There we go.
Are we on? Is this it?
Yeah.
Gang, welcome back, Simon, co-host, host extraordinaire, weightlifting super coach, and welcome the stats man, the guru, the young Tom Selleck, John Nash, who's sipping on bourbon and Coke, by the way. It's lunchtime and Sunday.
3 o'clock in Queensland. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Fucking oath. Mate, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Feel welcome.
Mate, it's a pleasure to have you on because we are a weightlifting podcast, so we will be discussing The Last Dance.
Yes.
And
which is perfect because I know nothing about weightlifting.
And we're going to finally put it to bed whether LeBron or Jordan is the better player. Both Simon and I already know this answer, but you're going to prove it with some stats. So
sure.
On a personal level, did either of you guys ever see Jordan live?
I saw him play a little bit in Washington, but when they telecasted it, but nothing prior. I never saw him at the Bulls. Too young. Didn't pick up basketball until the early 2000s. So it was a bit past beyond my time, but obviously learned about him over the years and watched the doco and got a bit more of an appreciation for someone who hasn't had a lot of experience in it before. So
watch the doco of the fucking century of any it rivals David Attenborough's Blue Earth.
It'd have to be one of the best sporting docos ever. I think
easily,
the way they've told it,
so well done.
Frothing. But watching Michael Jordan at Washington was a bit like watching Wally Lewis for the Gold Coast Seagulls. Like you play 20 matches, you get a little bit of a spark in one of those matches. But his time was past it. You could tell he was just probably clocking it in just to keep the money churning for the Air Jordans. But mate, that documentary,
it wasn't his best years.
No, it certainly wasn't his best. He did score 50 points in his last game for the Washingtons, I think.
He had a couple of good ones. I mean, how many did Kobe score in his last game? Kobe scored 60 in his last game. He was limping off the court.
Yeah,
so, I mean, when you want to give it to him, when he wants it, he wanted it. So
you're not going to not pass it, are you?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you give it to him?
I'd give it to him.
Why would?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Then pass him the ball.
Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. All right, mate. No worries. You hear Steve Kerr talk during the doco, and Steve Kerr's like, right, pretty competitive bloke, but it's like, I'll do whatever you want. If I'm on that team, you tell me what to do as long as I can stay here. No worries. Keep winning championships.
Mate, Harvey Weinstein can be the coach. I'll do whatever it takes.
Hey.
I know that's how a few careers got started. It's like Lively.
Okay.
How bad do you want it?
Mate, we've all been on the casting couch. Well, is that not normal?
Next episode.
Okay, moving on.
Move on to the next one. All right, so what you guys think? What did you think of the doco? Why did it solidify what your thought process was? Did you realise anything that you didn't realise before?
Well, I was just saying to you guys just, before we went live, obviously, too young to have experienced Jordan in his prime, but grew up with my brother loving the NBA, loving Jordan, loving the Bulls, and just watching the Ultimate Jordan DVD back in the day, I was pretty much tearing up, frothing, loving that sort of stuff, and then just watching the documentary gave me more appreciation of the business side of everything and how big the Bulls themselves were and sort of how larger than life Jordan was and sort of how he transcended the sport. But that's just my impression of the documentary. Overall, I thought the thing was amazing.
Yeah,
to watch.
It was great to see because the big thing in sport gets pumped about positive reinforcement and, we're all in this together, blah, blah. Having played a little bit of professional sport, that doesn't exist in pro sport. Pro sport is do your job. Then when you're doing your job, we'll celebrate the good times. But if you're not doing your job and you're affecting somebody else from doing their job, then it's not a positive environment. It's a task orientated environment. And you can see Michael Jordan was very task orientated. It's like, are we winning? Like, are you putting the work in to be a champion? Are you putting the work in to be better? I just took a little clip out of the Bible, which is Phil Jackson's coaching Bible. I can't mark it. I think it was like page age 140 or something, and he was talking about they were doing a video playback of a match. It was in the last season. Scottie Pippen was out, and Luke Longley made a mistake, and then Phil Jackson tried to say a joke by saying, and he paused it and said, "Oh, we all make mistakes," and then Jordan was like, "Yeah, that's why we can't." Oh, sorry, Phil Jackson was like, "We all make mistakes," and then I knew I shouldn't have come back for a second for the last dance. And it was supposed to be a joke. And then Jordan goes, "Yeah, me too." And then Luke Longley goes, "Oh, well, it's easy to be a critic." Like, he got fucking pissed off. And then somebody else jumped in and said, "Wait, take it easy. Like, this is they're doing their job." And then Luke Longley's gone, "I'm not angry at the coaching staff. Michael's being critical." And then Jordan goes, "Maybe you should focus on being better next time." And then he goes, "You know what? That's it. We're never going to lose again." And just took it on himself to be like, "Yeah, fuck this. We're not going to lose again. Fuck you guys for being shit." And then carries on. So I recommend everybody check out that book, Phil Jackson, 11 Rings. So it discusses his time with the Bulls, and then obviously on with the Lakers, where he had the imitation Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Now, here we go. So I get in arguments all the time because I work in a gym and I've got Generation Z or whatever these young kids are, fucking androgynous males that don't know what real sport is, and they keep at me saying LeBron is the best and who the hell is this Michael Jordan guy. So it takes everything I have not to stab them in the neck with a dessert spoon. Don't ask me why I have a dessert spoon in the gym. And so what would be your biggest stat, John or Tom? What would be your biggest stat to say one way or the other that who is the better player?
I'll start. I don't think there is a stat that you can do technically. Like, he averaged more points, averaged more steals, got the same amount of blocks. LeBron's got the rebounds and the assists on him, but I'd just go longevity. Like, if you're talking about winning, Jordan's the best, and there's no question, and there shouldn't be a question, because when
Jordan's the best. Cool.
Okay, yeah. This is over.
But,
and you're out of the stream. No, I'll bring you back there.
But I mean, like, I don't know. He took a year off. He had a 3-peat, and he goes, "Right, guys." And I think it was interesting, the exposure. I think everyone realised now that we've got the internet age now. They didn't have it back then. And he was swarmed all day, every day, all the time. NBA players deal with that every day today, but he was really the first one back then to really get, scrutinised on bad games and followed everywhere. Yeah. But mate, he took year 3. Like, LeBron hasn't taken a year off in 17 years. He's in MVP discussions this year at 35. Yeah. And Jordan managed to win 3 in a row, take a year off, played another 4 seasons, took 3 years off, and then played for Washington. So, winning, Jordan, no doubt. But if I'm picking someone to play for the next 20 years and play consistently, I'll pick LeBron every day. And it's not a discussion.
Do you think that Jordan's longevity was affected by the fact that when he first turned up, he was just raining buckets, and it wasn't like much of a team game? It was more individualized.
I mean,
so he's like just worn out just by minutes on the court.
Like, first year, he's averaged 28 a game. He was killing it.
Yeah.
And then the stretch, I'm looking at it now, between 87 and 90, 37 points, 35 points, 32 points, 33 points. Like, are you kidding me? Wear and tear is obviously there, but I think it's a different game. I think they got beat up more back then. The game's completely changed. We're allowed hand checking in Australia, NBL. It's a bit more physical, and like the world game is a bit more physical.
What do you mean by hand checking? You're allowed to.
So back when Jordan played, you're allowed hands on the other player. Essentially, you can like toss them around, and fouls weren't called as frequently, and you could really hit someone. Properly. You saw some of those hits in the Jordo documentary. People do that today.
Pittsburgh.
They get, mate, and they get flagrant fouls. They get suspensions from things like that. And back then, that was a day in the office. That happened every day. So they did cop a bigger beating back then. But and this is why the 3-point game's changed now. Because now they don't allow hand checking in the NBA. So as soon as you put your hands on the player, that's a foul.
Yeah. So it's a lot of crossed arms and elbow stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're just not allowed the contact that you were back then, and you get away with less.
But it's still more physical than AFL.
Well, I mean, I do like watching AFL because it does remind me of basketball back then. You give someone a knock if someone's running down the court and you want to stop them, you just step in their way and give them a bump. It's great, and I love that about sport. There's nothing better than just grit and go righto and getting into it. But now you do it, and and people get bad raps for looking like thugs today. I think it's ridiculous. You should be able to give someone a good knock and not get suspended for a game.
Yeah,
as long as it's not, as long as you're not causing harm, you're fine.
Well, long lasting harm, maybe dead to the knee.
Don't hit someone when they're in the air, But if they're on the ground, they've got 2 feet on the ground, and they're walking past you, give them a knock. Who cares?
Yeah, whack them.
Great.
Make it interesting.
Yeah, bloody.
It's like
you go, Des.
No, I was just going to talk about MMA. Like a lot of people that aren't educated about MMA think that it's more dangerous than boxing, but it's actually safest. Because if I'm up against Magnum PI here and he's got me on the reach, he's just going to use my head as a punching bag all day long. Whereas in MMA, I can take him to the ground and no longer cop those punches. So it's a bit safer. So that's why it's still tougher than AFL, obviously. But if you've got somebody in basketball who's far superior to you, but you're a bit more robust, then lean on it. I got no problem with it.
And you can. There are ways you can now, but I just don't think that they're just different games. Athleticism hasn't really changed. Everyone's the same height, same size. Kids today are a bit heavier, I think, compared to the mid-90s to now. At Jordan's position, I think they're 2 or 3 kilos heavier on average. And at LeBron's position, it's, they're 6 or 7 kilos heavier than what they used to be, which is getting there. But, one-on-one, LeBron's a couple inches taller, 20 kilos heavier. Tough. I don't care who you're up against. If you're up against someone with that sort of size, it's a tough matchup.
He's a better actor, I think.
Way better actor. You've got to be.
LeBron was in that movie with that female comedian that steals jokes.
Amy Schumer or whatever.
Amy Schumer, yeah. And Michael Jordan was in Space Jam.
I'm sorry, are we saying Space Jam's a bad film or what?
No. I will give it to LeBron for being a little bit better of an actor.
Well, we'll wait for Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
We'll have a discussion on that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like for like.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Space Jam.
What?
The first one? Can you take yourself out of the podcast? See you, Dad. See you next week.
Yeah.
That's a sin.
It's the Simon and John show from now on, mate.
Yeah. Tell me, fair play. It's instantly increased the IQ.
Yeah.
What about you, Simon? What gives you in your eyes, what makes it better?
Well, see, that's the thing. If we're comparing basketballers, it's going to be hard because there is a generational gap there.
Yeah.
I would argue that LeBron's maybe the better athlete, just based off size. Yeah.
Jesus.
Just wow. Yeah. But I want to go more back to your point about the difference in game styles and rules and everything. Does that not hurt your longevity argument with LeBron going, did Jordan not have the longest possible career under the rules of the game at the time? And
it's not comparable. Again, we could take guesses, but this is why I kind of just, it's so hard to compare. I'd love it if you just stuck LeBron in a time machine, put them next to each other, and because Jordan was drafted, obviously first overall, wasn't he? He was a first pick.
No, I don't think he was. No, he
wasn't.
I think he was third.
Yeah, third, and
it was a deal. What about? Could we compare via minutes played?
Yeah, we can. Where are we?
I know there's a massive stat about their age at their career stats at age 31, and they're almost identical. I think LeBron has him.
31. Here you go.
Yeah.
So Jordan was 26 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 6.9 rebounds. And then when LeBron was 31, he was 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. So it's the same-ish. But, I mean, over a shorter period of time with a year off.
It's got to be easier. If it's less physical, it's got to be easier to get rebounds.
Yeah. Well,
Easier to ditch off assists because the defense is a bit softer.
What did Jordan play? What are we at? 15 seasons he played.
Yeah. And
we've got LeBron at 17 seasons, and he's in the MVP discussion. This season, 19-20, 25 points, 10 assists, 10.6 assists, almost 8 rebounds, 7.9 rebounds at 35.
Yeah, not bad.
And look, I saw probably the most interesting
I don't like
thing,
the way this is going.
the most interesting thing I saw the other day is that you talk about like the GOAT criteria, right? So you have 5 criteria for the greatest ever. So accomplishments, we're looking at Michael Jordan, without a doubt.
Yeah.
More rings, yada, yada, yada. More defensive player of the years, scoring titles. There's no question there. I would say that we've got some athletes today that would give anyone a run for their money, like Giannis, the Greek freak.
Yeah.
7'1", built like a brick shithouse, Going against that. Second one's longevity. LeBron gets that, no doubt about it. Winning. Jordan gets the winning argument. He's the guy that you want to give it in the last 2 minutes. Statistics, and then the eye test. Jordan was a stud. He looked like a stud all day, every day. But if you had them next to each other, you're sitting and you don't know them. You've seen LeBron in high school and Jordan in college, and you're drafting. Who are you picking?
Jordan.
You pick LeBron. You don't pick Jordan at all. Like, seasons later, first contract comes up, 5 years into the league. Yeah, sure, you pick Jordan. But you're not picking him. If they're standing next to each other and you go, right, pick one for your starting 5, you don't pick Jordan. You look at a guy that's bigger, taller, faster. I'll take that guy. And he makes people better. And that's a fair...
Jordan was a fair
very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Jordan went... Yeah.
It's a fair argument because... Yeah, he copped the criticism when he was drafted in the first place, going 6'6". Well, we'd like it if he was 7 foot. And you're going, give it some time. So the optics on it aren't great.
But and then Jordan was a one-man army. He had help, eventually, but when he had to, he carried a team on his back. LeBron's had games like that, but he made everyone around him better for longer. So
I don't think LeBron could carry a team for a season.
No, well, he did. So here's one for you. Here's a stat that you'll love. And I heard this the other day. So when LeBron when he left the Cavs, he played for the Cavs for his 7 seasons or whatever, went to Miami. They went from a playoff team, and the next year they were drafting first. The team went to shit. Jordan left, took a season break. They went from 57 wins to 55.
Yeah.
So, but no doubt Jordan makes any team better. But I just think LeBron makes everyone else better. So I think, they don't compare. I think Michael Jordan's the better player, better winner. But you can't quite... And LeBron's not done yet. How many seasons has he got left? How many steroids and everything has he taken to be able to play at 45? Like,
mate,
that's
one way to make it weightlifting relevant.
Body.
Yeah, and we're back.
Drug everyone up. I like my sports like I like my video games.
I don't like video games.
Drug them up.
Mate, that's unreal. But is there a magical stat, or could we invent a stat to compare eras? Like, what stat would you lean on to compare eras?
A player efficiency rating would probably be your biggest stat, and I'm going to have to Google
is that
this.
solely on shot percentage?
No, I think that's so. Your player efficiency rating, it's ridiculous. It factors in all your stats, all your minutes played, your assists, your plus minus percentage. I don't like how they do this these days because it's too complex. You need a math degree to figure it out. But
This is
it's
not
basically
the
their
time.
permanent. It's basically their permanent productivity. So I mean, if you're going to gauge efficiency rating, it's interesting. It's close, and I think Jordan wins it.
Oh, hang on. Is this the system that was invented by the LA Lakers coach in the 90s?
Yeah, I believe so. And Jordan wins
Okay.
it. So player efficiency rating, LeBron
Okay,
James
done.
27.52 and Jordan 27.91.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that affects
That's miles.
everything. Yeah.
That is
And,
miles. So I've only just recently learned about this efficiency rating. It's not Phil Jackson, obviously, but it's the guy with the slick black grey hair. He was Magic Johnson's coach.
John
And
Hollinger created the
He looks
efficiency
like
rating.
it looks like he's at a Miami Vice, like a cocaine dealer.
Just on point today with these analogies. And
Anyway, so this guy, right, he came together and he couldn't figure out why they couldn't win games without Magic Johnson being just fucking on it. So then he asked every player to improve every one of those stats by 1%. Just by 1%. And then he turned them from playoffs to winners. And then I think they did the two in a row.
they smashed it.
Just because of implementing this, and I think he coined the phrase 1%ers or something like that. But he just got all the players to increase their output by 1% across all their stats, and it was epic. And that's all he watched. I'll dig it up. It's out of the book Atomic Habits. If anyone out there is listening and wants to check it out, get the audio book. It's a good deal. Atomic Habits, but they discuss that.
Okay.
And how and talking about compound result of increasing your 1%. How it compounds over time and how it's massively powerful.
Yeah.
Mate, that's a good stat then. What about who would be the second best in both eras?
Other than those
Because now, now I just think LeBron, my mind instantly goes to Steph Curry.
Kobe.
It's
Kobe, yeah.
Kobe, but Kobe's sort of stuck in between generations for me.
Well, he's the man that
But he's
overlaps
one
the
that he performed in both.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
argument.
fair
He
point.
performed in one and the other.
Yeah, he's the missing link.
And he's the closest thing to Jordan we've ever seen in almost every way.
Yeah.
But I just think, I think it'll take another 20 years for us to figure out what's classified as the best ever. You see people coming through today like Kevin Durant. He's a true 7-footer. I think he's listed at 6'10". He's 7 foot. Giannis, he's 7 foot and built. He looks like a bodybuilder. Yeah. You know, Giannis is Shaq in today's game. That's the way I would describe him. He can play 5 positions. You know, I don't know how you grow from 6'8" to 7'1" after you enter the NBA.
Dude,
and then gain all that muscle, dude. And you Google him. Anyone who's watching, Google Giannis and see how. If you haven't seen him before, he is an absolute monster. He looks jacked, and you know these sort of guys coming through the game, changing the way the game's played. Steph Curry has made more. Tell you what, Steph Curry's done. He's made it a tough time for a coach to teach young kids anything other than 3-pointers.
Yeah.
There is nothing more frustrating in the world. I've coached kids before, watching 7-year-olds try and throw a ball over their heads to shoot threes like Steph when you're trying to teach kids layups. I'd love to talk to Steph one day and just go. And he's proven.
That's what you get.
He's proven too. Yeah. And he's proven too that you don't have to look like a stud to dominate competition.
To be a stud.
He changed the game again. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, someone who sits at 6'4", looks like a scrawny little kid who changed the way the 3-pointer is being made. You know?
Yeah.
What about, I think Stephen Kerr said that Steph Curry has scored more points, more threes in 6 months than what he did in his whole NBA career.
Yeah.
He was in the NBA for 12 years. But just such a different game.
Well, 3-pointers weren't a metric
thing.
back then. Yeah,
it's funny that
because
they
you got
never
bullied. If
approached
you're on the 3-point line, you got bullied. Well, why? Because you're with this hand checking rule. You can body people up. You can put your hands everywhere when someone's on the 3-point line. Now you can't get your hands in there. You can go for a steal, but you're going to get called. It forces you to your body position to stay. If you get beat, you get beat. There's not much you can do and Steph shoots. He's probably got one of the quickest jump shots I've ever seen. in just being able to catch and shoot. It's tough. I don't think Steph could have. I think he would have been manhandled back in the day. Scottie Pippen guarding Steph.
Oh, he'd be eaten in half.
He'd hit the floor every 15 seconds.
Yeah,
you know. But put those guys in today's game. You know, I don't think it's changed much for Jordan and LeBron. Like in their positions, I don't think the game's changed too much. But for big men and guards are taller. Guards are now 6'4", 6'5", you know, with a couple of exceptions. And then centers are now 6'11", who can shoot threes with their eyes closed, you know. And they're more athletic than, you know, maybe not more athletic, more agile, I'd say, than centers 20 years ago.
So what do you think has been the change? Obviously, the rules has influenced decision-making. What changes has there been in athlete selection? Like,
well, I think
like transitioning changed from high school to college into the NBA. Like, what's become the most valuable asset?
Athleticism.
Yeah.
Sheer athleticism. Yeah. You can teach. Look at Ben Simmons, Australian, goes to the NBA, does a great job, can't shoot a three-pointer. But he's a 6'10" point guard who can body anyone that gets in front of him. You know? I'm still maintain, I don't know how many seasons he's in, but he's hit 2 3-pointers. You put me in the NBA, I'll hit more than 2 3-pointers in 5 seasons. Like, I feel like if you've got a skill and you're getting paid millions of dollars to play the game of basketball and you can't develop a skill, like, not even improve. Like, improve. It's not. There's not a vast improvement. He's hit 2 3-pointers in years. There are centers who have hit more 3-pointers than he's attempted, and you know, and just goes to speak. He's just so good at everything else, and I don't. You know, a lucky Ben Simmons is never going to see this podcast, but.
Hey, that's a great point. Hang on, Ben Simmons he's an avid watcher. He doesn't watch live because of the time, but he watches back.
Give him my number.
Yeah,
I'll have a conversation with him. It shits me. You know,
now, how about
you got to do what you're good at. But yeah, come on, mate, hit a three for me.
You got to revolve. So Ben, you're listening. Pick your fucking game up, champ. I don't give a fuck about you donating your salary. Bullshit. Yeah. It's a cover up. It's a ScoMo
It's a cop out.
It's a ScoMo tactic to take the public's awareness away from your lack of free throws.
So, coin this ScoMo tactic.
ScoMo tactic. What is it? Job shooter.
Job shooter.
So that's a trend, right? So you sign Ben Simmons, can't shoot threes for shit, but he's great at everything else, and he doesn't develop because the coaches don't care. Maybe that's happening right now in rugby league and rugby union. They sign players for what they've got, not what they can develop, and then they fucking cut them loose. So it's like coaching is sort of, it's gone from actually coaching to now it's managing. It's like, oh, but I need to develop this skill. Yeah, that's not what we do here. We're paying you to do something that you've already got. Make that thing better, but we're not going to give you anything new.
Is that bad? That's bad coaching. Is that bad coaching?
Well, I think it's not what the public thinks coaching is. Like it's like a soccer player's manager position or a soccer coach, like a team manager. The team manager isn't teaching Ronaldo how to kick a ball. He's just like coming together with attacking and defensive philosophies and that sort of shit. Whereas rugby league and rugby union now, they're not teaching them how to, like in my day, pass both hands, kick both feet, tackle both shoulders. Now it's like kids are coming with only one side of their body developed and only playing on one side of the field and only doing one job. AFL, I don't know what those 6-year-old kids do. It just looks like kids kicking a ball in a park. Just fucking.
It's the same thing, but you don't give it the respect it deserves, or
it doesn't deserve any.
Yeah, walked into that one.
Respect is earned.
On your does.
Yeah. Yeah, you tear those 6-year-olds down.
Teach them a lesson.
Some of these 6-year-olds are tougher than fucking AFL blokes coming down. Oh, my hair gel. Oh. Anyway, is that a trend in junior basketball too, Magnum? Are they teaching kids how to shoot, how to pass, how to drill both hands, like play both sides of the body, or is it just like, okay, you've got a natural aptitude for this skill, let's just make that better?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to youth, I think that you get put in a corner pretty quickly. If you're going to have a quick growth spurt when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, and you're sitting, 6 foot at 13 years old, you're a big man. And this is what big men do. And that's it.
Yeah, right.
And my big gripe with it is that you all see kids that have growth spurts at 13 and they never grow an inch of their lives. And they get to 18 and they can work well around the basket, but then they go play a men's league later on, and that's all they can do against guys that are 6'4", 6'5". We're not talking, this is just in a social matter. But, I mean, if you're going to take it to professional sport, I think you work on what's getting you paid first. If you're, and I can only really speak to basketball, if you're Ben Simmons, you work on what makes you Ben Simmons first. Yeah, and then you work on what you want to work on. Work what makes you money, and then you work on your extras. But no, I don't think that. I think that in today's youth growing up, I think regardless of height, you should get taught both sides. I think it gives you a better understanding. And I hope it's changing. I haven't coached in a few years, but the general consensus was if you're a big, you do big man stuff. And if you're a guard, you do guard stuff. And there's no crossover. And I think it's criminal because you're always going to be put in positions a bit different with your high-level athletes, but you're moving into a positionless game in the NBA at the moment. So you've got point guards you've got Ben Simmons, who's 6'10". He could play power forward, He could do whatever he wants. LeBron can do whatever he wants. Giannis can play center if he wanted, and he can run the point guard. So skills are developed. I think people are more skilled and able to play multiple positions. And I don't think it's a problem in professional basketball, but on junior levels and on a very limited, local scale, I don't think they're getting taught the whole picture.
Yes,
sheerly because of what they look like.
It's the same with rugby league. Rugby league, there's only 3 distinct positions, and everyone else is the same. You can be 6 foot, 6'5", 5'10", doesn't matter. You can be a winger, center, second rower, prop, lock.
You look at the bigger kids when they're younger. Kids at 13, they might be a bit chubby, and then they have their grow up, go through puberty, and they're monsters, and they're absolute guns. But they've been taught one thing.
Yeah, well, that's one of the benefits of Scottie Pippen. He was playing. Was it point, and then he had a growth spurt, so they moved him into power forward, and he still had his guard skills, and that was one of the things for him.
Well, Giannis, they moved him from small forward to point guard. They're like, right, Milwaukee, very early stages, said, right, you're going to play the point guard position for a season, and they swapped him around so he can develop his skills.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to do it. If there's no downside, what's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, he's shit at it. Okay, we'll go back to what you're good at.
He's shit.
Yeah.
Mate, I think we were going to punt you off at this stage of the podcast because we are now going to transition from a basketball podcast to a weightlifting one. But you need to hang around because you're the numbers man, and I need your input on Simon's question of the week that he proposed last week. Run us through it, Si.
All right, so last week put out the idea that some people would jump at the idea of being paid $45,000 a year to be a full-time weightlifter. So we posed that question, would you do it? Chucked it up on Instagram, and our current response here is 67% of people that responded would take that money, no questions asked. So $45,000 a year to be a full-time weightlifter. So we'll throw it to you first off. Do you think $45,000 a year to be a full-time athlete, let's forget about weightlifter, is enough money?
No, short answer, no, I don't think it is.
Daz just got the 100K light just flashing in his...
Yeah. Define full-time. Are we doing 2 a days, 5 days a week? Do you live and breathe it?
Yes, we're even looking 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah,
sure as hell have to live and breathe it.
Mate, I'll go work at McDonald's. And
popular answer.
Yeah. God love, and to be a professional athlete. I mean, to represent your country. If I was representing Australia and I got that opportunity, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, it's got a shelf life. You can only go for a period of time. I could live off 45 grand. If it means I represent my country, sure. But tough. You can't do that for, 15, 20 years unless you really love it. You got to have a special individual that's willing to cop that, or a really rich partner that's, depending on the lifestyle you want to live. But is it enough? Sure, it's enough to live on. You can do it. And if it's your passion, go for gold. But yeah, I mean, you could pay me 45 grand to play in the NBA and I'd do it. So
Well, yeah.
I don't
So
know
okay,
$2.
but what about the
So
context?
if it's the sport you love and you could do it full time, yeah, you know what? I would.
Yeah.
But tough.
Okay.
Put it back into weightlifting then. Would you sit in a dark and dingy weightlifting gym 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 45K?
And represent my country? Sure. What's the shelf life on a weightlifter? What's your year? How many years am I doing this for?
Ooh,
It depends.
yeah.
Because it depends when you strike it big. You know, you got guys that are starting, you know, guys and girls 12, 13 years old, and they don't make the big leagues until they're in their mid-20s. And you got some that hit it really early on and then never follow through with it. I think you have to define what represent the country. Are we looking at a junior level, or are we talking top where the seniors who are going to world championships, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, that sort of caliber of athlete?
Yeah.
I would think the 10 years is probably the shelf life of an Australian weightlifter. And there's obviously
so you're getting paid for 10 years. You might have 15 years of work, but 10 years of getting paid, or 20 years of work, 10 years of getting paid.
Well, in this scenario, yeah, we'd. Oh, actually, no. I'd say probably 5 years of being paid, and the rest of it you're putting in the work to get into a position to be paid.
Right. Yeah, I'd take it.
You take it?
Why not? Yeah.
Fucking
Opens opportunities afterwards. Yeah. Look.
Does it?
Yeah. Look.
Yeah, that's the big one for this sport.
Yeah, it's a tough. It's a tough one. And then what do you do afterwards? That's the thing. So, you know, if you can transition, you get some pretty good opportunities after. I don't see why not. But yeah, if you're talking 10 years, a 5-year shelf life on that sort of money, you can do it. If you're going to represent your country and you want to do it and you love weightlifting, yeah, it's always doable. But yeah, any more than that, you couldn't do it for 10 years. No one would. So you'd get sick of it. You'd get tired. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
So I think, and I think in any other sport, people would laugh. Oh, the cricketers are getting paid 45 grand a year to represent Australia. There'd be an uproar. In 2020, that'd be a great price in this, in Australia in the 60s.
In the 40s.
But, 40s, no dramas. Yeah. But you're getting cricketers, they're getting paid, league players are getting paid stupid amounts of money, well above a median, but it comes, and you're not getting the exposure, you're not getting the views, you're not getting, if it's weightlifting as it is, it's tough to put so much money down if no one's, it's not considered a world game like everything else,
Oh, massive. Sean here's chimed in with, seems easier to get a flexible job and actually earn money if you have any skills outside of lifting.
Yeah.
Sean, just compliments to your profile picture, mate. It is outstanding.
Top
you look like you're in distress. Yeah. I don't know what you're doing, but that's brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, real quick, I know when Pip transitioned from CrossFit to weightlifting, she had all these existing sponsors. Every time she was approached by another company, every first question was, are you still doing CrossFit or are you going back to CrossFit? And she would say no, and then that relationship would go frosty, like talking to new sponsors, because weightlifting has no exposure. So they wanted to support the athlete, but if they're not getting anything returned, then it's a business decision. There's no altruistic billionaires going, you know what, I'm just going to support Joe Blow because I really like this sport. And so that doesn't happen. There's lots of people that say that also get paid by the sport, but not many people want to pay the bills. But yeah, 45K, fuck, mate.
Well,
it's nothing.
Having tried myself, it's not doable. That's how I know the 100K is the number.
Yeah. Well, let's break it down a little bit then. So $45,000 a year. That's your vocation now. So we're subject to tax here. So after tax, we're looking at a net of about 36,000. If we're laughing, we're going 3 sessions a day. Weightlifting session anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5, maybe 3 hours. So maybe we'll call it 7.5 hours total per day of training, and that's before we even take recovery and all that other stuff into it. 7 days a week. That works out to $13.20 an hour for your work as a full-time athlete. Minimum wage is $15.52 per hour after tax.
What industry is that?
I don't. That's just your Australian average at the moment. So
what's minimum per year? 37
Minimum.
37,000?
Yeah, about there. 39,
Yeah.
I think. 39.
Okay. And how much are you paying your coach while you're doing this?
Well, that's the thing. That's when we start breaking it down even more, right? So
Yeah.
let's go with some conservative sort of estimates here. So we're looking at, let's say you hit it
100K.
100K.
100K for coaching.
Yeah. So, well, we're a youngster. Maybe we're making it big at 22 years old, looking to move out, probably paying rent anywhere. It depends where you're living, but somewhere between $150, $250 a week in rent. Something like that.
A one bedroom and a car.
Yeah, this is a 1 bedroom. Yeah,
It's a shoebox. Yeah,
it's a shoebox. Don't you worry about that. Food, if you're eating your tin stuff, maybe $60 a week. But I don't know how you're going to get by with refueling after all that training. So let's call it there. Your supplements broken down over there, maybe $15 a week. Just travel to and from.
Can we just stick with the clean weightlifter?
So it's free. So your travel's about $25 a week. Then you got your other stuff that where your phone, your internet, if you want to stay connected and get your social media presence out there. So $20 around there a week. Electricity averaging out around $18. Gas $20. Water $12. Then you got your gym fees. What are we looking about? $400 a year for gym fees. Then your coaching, maybe $2 and a bit grand. Overall.
How far in the red are we? Yeah. How much money are we losing?
This is a year, Daz. Two around a year, sort of thing.
Fuck.
You want to go see your physio once every couple of weeks. You're looking at nearly $2,000 on an average visit. That's a $75 visit to the physio every 2 weeks. Recovery. I don't know. You're going for a swim. You're jumping in the sauna. So you do that once a week. You're looking at around $1,000. All right. Then you got to go to competitions. A couple interstate competitions a year. You're looking at about $700 per trip. That's flights, accommodation, food, and everything for those trips. And then your state affiliation competition fees. You're racking up another $300. My calculations here. That's $26,350. We're looking in expenses for the year. So at the moment. We're banking $9,500 at this point. We're laughing and we haven't even talked about like half of the stuff here. What if you get hurt? Medical bills, insurance, all this other stuff. You driving a car? How about your rego? What's happening here?
What was the hourly wage again?
The hourly at $13.20.
Well, great news. The average hourly rate for a McDonald's employee in Australia is $16.67.
Fucking get it.
So I'd like to change my answer from before. No. Represent Australia. If Australia's paying me $13 to weightlift, no. I'll give it a miss.
Because the opportunities at the end of the road are zero, absolute zero. So you like, I don't know, the myth back in my day, like the first Olympics I watched was 84. Really enjoyed the 92 Olympics. That's a standout in my brain because I was in year 12. But how I thought the Olympics worked was you go to the Olympics and you're set as a celebrity. Now that was the thinking back in 1992. Now, like if you look at the Com Games, there was about 1,000 Australian athletes at the Com Games. So there's not 1,000 opportunities per athlete.
Name 10.
And
exactly.
if you look at
name three people who won gold.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you look at the coverage of the Com Games and who actually got interviewed, I think on average, just say we had 10 gold medal winners, only 2 were ever presented in front of camera. So there's no opportunities, even if you win gold. I mean, imagine coming second or third with the Australian mentality of Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. Like the opportunities are pretty slim. And if you're a clean weightlifter, you ain't winning a medal. Fucking full stop. No. So the Australian public's not going to give a fuck because they don't know the rest of the world's dirty. Like as dirty as a fucking used old chip packet. But
well, what do you do? So is it the same as, because they talk about your pay gaps with genders in sport and whatever, and they're say if you want to support it, buy your tickets, buy your jerseys, do all that sort of stuff, increase exposure. How do you do it on a scale where it can help weightlifters earn more money?
How would you do it?
mean, short answer. I wouldn't know how to create community interest in it. I wouldn't know where to start.
Oh,
because isn't that the building block? You got to get people interested first. Then you got to have a star that not performs well, but it's got to be the best. Well, look at what Thorpe did with, swimming. In early days, right? Look at how swimming transformed. No one gives a fuck about swimming. 3 years, 6 months, no one knows what swimming is, and then the Olympics comes on, and Thorpe kills it. All Australians go, "Oh, I love swimming! I'm so patriotic!" And it blows up. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with football. Basketball's a thing. You need to have an athlete that exceeds so many expectations to get the community interest, to get the sport rolling.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has to happen. You need a god level athlete to make sport move. Yeah. And without it, you're never going to get anywhere.
Which is exactly what Michael Jordan did in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's
what Thorpe did for swimming. It's what LeBron did these days. It's what you just need somebody to do it.
So we always talk about that for weightlifting. There's no community presence / social media, and there's no hero of the sport. Like there needs to be a hero, and even if they're not real, just
there's no face.
Go manufacture one. Go make one. Like it's not fucking hard. I mean, if you look at the growth of CrossFit, what they did, they hired 2 cameramen and a director, and they just interviewed as many fucking people as they could, and they made heroes. So now if any particular CrossFit Games athlete walks away, it's no big deal. They'll just go make another one. There's always the next. There's always, like Michael Jordan quits, Kobe shines, Shabby quits, LeBron shines. Like there's always going to be another person. It's not an end of the road. But with sports that are under the radar, like weightlifting, there isn't even one person to begin with, which is crazy because it is an individual sport. Like you don't need a team; you just need one person to have a fucking crack.
Yeah.
No, and for anyone who watches it, I mean, me having seen a little bit of weight, obviously weightlifting, the Olympics and everything, you see these guys lift or girls lift the amount of weight that they go, and you go, "Wow, this is amazing." But how do you get the ball rolling? How do you get that suspense and get people watching something when you're talking? It's a game of kilos, and we're not talking the difference between 50 and 60 kilos per athlete. It's minimal. And, you're watching in other sports, the best athletes in the world do some pretty remarkable stuff. But then on the weightlifting side of things, it's not a tough watch because I enjoy it, but it's for the majority of people who are used to watching league or AFL, or maybe not AFL does, but basketball or anything like that, how do you get them to swap over? What's going to get people go, you know what, I don't want to watch, Sydney play Melbourne or whatever. I want to watch the weightlifting.
Yeah.
How are you going to get that,
You need the relevance. I remember one year at the CrossFit Games, they had the burpee booth. So it was this stand in the vendor village, and you would go up against a video of this famous CrossFitter doing burpees for a minute. So they had Jason Kalipa, Julie Fouché, whatever. And you would just a punter would walk up and try to do more burpees than what the video did. And it was a full life-size screen and all that. Imagine you go to a weightlifting competition and there's a bar set up and it's Damo Kelly's snatch, and you get a chance to try to deadlift it, let alone snatch it.
I was just about to say,
holy fuck, how do these guys move this way? Or you've got Erica's snatch, and Erica weighs like 2.5 kilos when she's just eaten dinner. And then you go to pick up her snatch and think, fuck, how can a chick who weighs like 48 kilos, how can they snatch that? Like you need to develop some relevance.
Exactly.
But it's very hard but in the same token in basketball, like I can shoot threes, I can make it rain. It looks like a hailstorm when I'm playing.
Yeah.
It's relatable. You can walk outside, and this is one of the big reasons, you can walk outside and go to any basket, anywhere in any park, and just work it out and do it. But you're obviously not going to get the same result. You might hit 1 in 50 or whatever, but people can just walk outside and do it. It's easy to do. You can grab a soccer ball, you can grab an AFL ball, you can grab any ball and walk outside and go do something that you've seen on TV.
Yeah.
You can't walk outside and deadlift 250 kilos, 200 kilos.
Well,
170 kilos, 150 kilos.
No.
Yeah, well, the average.
Yeah.
The average human.
Yeah. Never do anything sober. Yeah.
My spine to just shift out of my back. Sure.
Yeah.
But, so how would you? So we're talking about participation and relevance and accessibility. how would somebody who is not in the current weightlifting circles, what's the first thing you think about to make weightlifting more accessible?
That's you, Simon. I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
Well, like, I'd love to throw it to you because I think Daz knows my answer is going to be it's change up the formatting of competitions and everything to make it more applicable to the average person, make it more exciting, and then they can travel down the elite athlete path if they so choose. But change the sport up. How did basketball start? How did it get
For me?
popular? Yeah.
Oh, how did basketball get popular? Basketball got popular. I mean, once the internet started, the exposure was huge. The world game didn't develop until the Americans were able to go to NBA players were allowed to go to the Olympics. They talk about that with the Dream Team because NBA players weren't allowed before then. It was all college guys.
Yeah. The 92 Olympics was the first professional athletes were allowed to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. And then it gets exposed to the world game starts, the world game develops. It took years to develop. You remember 2000 Olympics, Greece. Greece was a powerhouse because they played a different game. They played a team game. Yeah. And then you start building interest there. But I wouldn't know where to start with weightlifting.
Right, we'll take it back. Where did basketball start for you? So you've got the world game. Where are you in it?
Yeah, I was pretty underexposed to much basketball at all. I started playing basketball when I was about 13, and grew up playing baseball. Played just in the junior levels, and then I went to school in the Gold Coast, an all-boys school, and they didn't have baseball there, so I had to try the sports. And out of pure luck, I tried basketball and loved it. And it was only 2 or 3 years after I started playing that I really started to, Google at the time what the NBA was and who's in the NBA, and it kind of developed organically. I was very lucky to find it, to be honest with you, and I haven't stopped. So it's been 17 years I've been playing now, and at a very mediocre level, I might add. So not a superstar by any means. I'm
that sums up our podcast.
I'm unathletic and getting older. So but and I was pretty lucky. But I think once it starts getting in the news and you see that with the Dream Team, the Olympics, that's changed. People don't get paid today what they get paid today by the Olympics not happening in '92. If Jordan didn't go to the Olympics, the Dream Team didn't dominate. I don't think. And then do you look at the internet phase, television deals, exposure to the world game? How big China is when it comes to supporting these big players and how much jersey sales and whatever accumulate. I think it's a roll-on effect. But, how do you get there? I wouldn't even know. You get the odd people in the community, but you just got to wait for a stud to walk in and just absolutely just a phenom and then hope that you get some interest.
Insulted that you don't recognize as the stud.
Simon's the stud. But the key phrase there, you played basketball in high school because you had to. That was your exposure. Like we need kids being exposed to weightlifting, and then even as like my old PE teacher, Moose Rebilliard, played basketball for Australia, played for the Sydney Kings, ended up coaching the Sydney Kings. Blah blah. We were exposed to gym work at the age of 15. And not all schools are exposed to gym work. Now, unless you go to a sports specialty school, you don't even work out. In America, power cleans, snatches, that's a part of your athletic development for other sports. So we have to sort of indoctrinate PE teachers and maybe strength coaches in these schools to don't be scared of the Olympic lifts. Like the myth that I'm sure is perpetuated by old school weightlifting coaches are the lifts are too technical. Like, get fucked. It's easy. It's easy to fucking coach this shit.
I agree with that completely. It's not, but easy for the people walking in the door. It's not going to hurt them,
No, it's not.
It's more risk running through a field and hitting a ditch than,
Yeah, well, what about the one report? There's the myth that weightlifting is bad for children because it causes injuries and stunts growth. That comes from one report. And get this, it was when the child was walking off a matted floor. They were doing a dumbbell workout. They were walking from a matted floor to a basketball court, slipped and damaged their MCL or tore their ACL. Because it happened in a gym during a weightlifting class, they deemed that it was caused by weightlifting. So that's the one study saying that weightlifting is dangerous for kids, which is complete fraud. But it's a classic example where where you only read the abstract and not the study.
No, but people are getting precious, Daz. That's
Mate,
why no
they're
one's
soft.
playing, look at rugby. Rugby's
dead,
not what it used to be.
Rugby is
but
dead.
why?
It's dead.
Because kids are going to school, they're playing the sports, and mothers and fathers don't want their kids getting hurt. So that's getting pulled down, and they're going to these more non-contact,
AFL.
quote unquote sports. Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously. Like all the
You fucking hate it, don't you? You really do.
I genuinely hate AFL. I think it's the lowest sport in the fucking
If you don't
world.
want contact, go play chess or AFL. Like,
Exactly. But a lot of tall timber kids that play second row, blindside, and all that sort of stuff in rugby in private schools are getting poached by AFL teams because they're offering them more money and they're offering them a longer career because it is less contact. So you can play for longer. As long as you can run, you can play AFL. So,
and you're a
like,
stud too.
I would
you
too.
Play,
like
you play AFL in Melbourne, you walk down the street, people know
worshipped.
your name.
Yeah. I walk down the street in Melbourne and they look at me and go, sub 6 foot, no neck. Fuck this guy. He never played AFL.
probably help if you put your pants on, mate. Like,
Pants are optional.
Yeah.
It was warm. Breezy.
Yeah.
Participation. That's it. That's the name of the
Yeah,
game.
I think like it's got to be, and I think across the board to develop, if you're looking to develop not necessarily athletes, but a good rounded base, people have to play sport early, and they've got to be multi-sport. If you do soccer or something like that, do something with your upper body, learn how to throw a ball, learn how to kick a footy, do 4 or 5 sports growing up, do 8 sports between the ages of 6 and 15, and then pick one, and then go from there. But I think that I went to a school on the Gold Coast, and it was 2 sports a year. You did 2 extracurricular activities a year, and that was a must. So not policed, but widely followed. Yeah, so you would go rugby, rowing, or you would go basketball and soccer, or you'd do
TSS?
something. You could TSS. So you could play. You could do drama and chess if you wanted to. So you didn't have to play a sport, but in that surround, it made you get out of your comfort zone and try something different. And if you don't like it, good. At least you find out, or you develop a skill that can transfer into anything. Throw weightlifting in there. What's the worst thing that can happen? Oh no, I'm going to get stronger. Better
I've just been
mobility.
jacked by accident. Oh no.
Yeah, it's use it or lose it mentality.
All these chicks are annoying me now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Mate.
Oh man, I look great. And it's not. Oh, if I do weightlifting, I've got to do this or look a certain. No, it's only gonna. You're not going to look at. You're just going to help you.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's got to go from the ground up. Get kids into sport again, and don't give out 8 plates medals.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, participation rewards are bullshit. You need to learn how to lose.
Yeah. Well, now. All right.
Which is why I'm an expert. I've lost my.
All right. Let's take it back. All right. So I think we've probably swayed a few people. Maybe not. $45,000. $45,000 is still $45,000. All right, but it's a job. Yeah. You're getting paid for a job. We know you don't perform, you get the sack. All right. So we're looking at this $45,000. We're looking at some sort of elite ranking that you have to have. And not only do you have to have it, you have to have repeat efforts of this. So at competitions, you're going and you have to perform at competitions, whether it's a final place quota or just that same total that you have to hit over and over. Do you still want that money if you have to perform? And if you don't perform, it's gone. It's $45,000 under pressure.
The risk reward is not there.
Yeah.
So you're putting your body on the line every day. There is risk of injury. There's risk that tomorrow you could wake up and you're done for. Why would you? There's a reason why athletes get paid millions of dollars a year in the big sports. That's because if they go down at 27, at least they get a buffer, if they're smart about it. But
and they only get a percentage of that sign number. So just say somebody signs for $1 million and they don't play a whole season, they don't get the $1 million. Look, the general public need to understand that too. It's like if it's a pro rata system really in professional sports, unless you're good enough to negotiate different balloon packages. But yeah, imagine you've quit your job. I'm going to be a professional weightlifter. I'm on $45K a year. 1 month into it, you get injured. So you lose your money. You've cut all your professional ties with your job. So you can't pay your bills anymore. You've just quit your career. Now you got to restart your career. You're behind the 8 ball and you've got no money and you're injured. Fuck that.
That's
have fun.
Only an idiot would fucking take that on.
Well, that's interesting. I'm sure, like, I can sort of see a scenario here where there's got to be a scenario for an athlete out there where $45,000 is enough. And I think John was touching on it a little bit earlier, just when if you've got a supportive partner, if your parents are looking after you at the same time, all these sort of things, does $45,000 a year become a very, very nice sort of figure?
Oh, fucking oath. We've had, Pip and I have had this discussion multiple times. I'm of the opinion that the Olympics is for rich kids. I don't see one battler out there paying their own way. I see private school athletes. Look at the Winter Olympics, which shouldn't be the Olympics in my mind because it's not participated by the whole world.
Who has money to go to the ski fields every day?
Exactly. They're all living on the ski fields, all of them. They're all rich families. They're all like got plums in the mouths and same as the Olympic. Look at swimmers. I don't know of any battlers from Western suburbs making the Australian swim team. I mean, the only battler I know of who succeeded was Mick Fanning because he could get himself to the beach and surf. Like there's nothing dependent apart from his surfboard. You can work on hand-me-downs. So surfing is a talent-generated sport. All these other sports that take time equals money, money equals coaching. It's rich kids. The Olympics is for rich kids. So if you've got rich mum and dad, rich sugar daddy, sugar mummy, fucking go for it. Play with their money. What does it matter?
Yeah. Well, I think we're sort of in a good position to ask this question now, and it has to be asked to John. Obviously, you don't know the most about weightlifting, but you've sort of got an idea of what's involved in terms of training, and you know what the cost involved in being an athlete is. What do you think the figure is for a weightlifter? We'll start off with there. What's the figure that you go, okay, I could ignore all of this for this amount of money?
I mean, you'd have to go close to 100. You'd have to go above the median, what you consider a median Australian wage, by 30 or 40 grand, maybe, to make it enticing without the exposure sort of thing.
Yeah.
To live a comfortable, you don't have to, and it's living within your means. It's not, you're not getting paid millions of dollars, but it's enough. It's enough to live a comfortable life on your own and do what you love to do, between, 80 and 90 and 140, something like that. If it's a 7-day-a-week job, you want to get paid the money. I don't think you could do it on 50. I think you could do it on any amount. If you're willing to live within your means, you could do anything. And if you're tough enough to last it out, but 60, no, 70, maybe 80, you're starting to get there. But it's a lot of work. It's not a walk in the park. It's all day, every day, 7 days a week. Yeah. And this is why they get paid. You should get paid big money.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting paid $13 an hour. No way.
No, fuck no. I was just thinking, imagine Simon, like your weightlifter in Simon's stable, and he's screaming at you, throwing shit at you 24/7. The emotional and physical abuse is just like off the charts.
And we haven't even started coaching yet.
That's just after he says good morning. Like even that whole industry of professional sports, I don't know how many people know this, but a sports psychiatrist or a sports psychologist, guess how much they charge an hour? Throw a number out there. Guess.
An hour? 1,500?
Oh no, fuck, Jesus.
Jesus.
No, I'm not that damaged. But they charge $360 an hour for sports psych. So like you're in Simon's camp, you're gonna need a couple of those appointments a year.
Yeah.
Or anyone would really. Because you want to leverage what you're getting paid to get the best result, to keep yourself in the best position to get paid. And everything's expensive. Like everything in sport.
It's part of maintenance.
Yeah. It's part of the gig. So it's equipment maintenance. You go and dropping the car off to the mechanics. It's like you're dropping yourself off to maintain.
Yeah. It's like going to the
physicality.
dentist.
So fuck, you need the money because everybody else is charging. So you need to charge too. Pair of weightlifting shoes. What's that? A couple $100? How many shoes are you going to go through a year?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're only left with 9,000 in the plus so far. You got to get a couple of pairs of shoes. That'll bring you down to 8,000. Like,
just training.
What's your number, Simon?
What's my number?
Yeah.
I'd take 12 grand.
Let's say tomorrow.
He'd do it for a handshake and a pat on the bum.
Yeah. Just like the old days.
Leave Father Tom out of this.
Yeah. It's, yeah, no, look, I'm probably
Ballarat Weightlifting Club.
Yeah.
Shout out to George, our mate George. Burning Hell Prep.
Yeah. I'm at about 100K as well. It's it goes beyond doing what you love. It's a job. It's hard. You expect the results. The pressure alone's worth 45K to perform. And then it comes down to lifestyle. It's like, what sort of life do you want to live? And I'm not sure after all of that. And that's a conservative sort of breakdown. Just did. I'm not sure $9,500 is a good lifestyle or a sustainable lifestyle for someone who's going to dedicate 5 to 10 years of their life to this sport. Because I mean, it would be great to know that I could represent Australia. I could win medals, and then I could walk down the street and I'll be celebrated. People will be throwing money at me for sponsorships, but that's just not the way it works. If I went down the street at the moment and asked, can you name the last 3, gold medalists at the Commonwealth Games for weightlifting, you'd be lucky. Be lucky to name, and it's just, I don't know. There's a sustainable career afterwards. So yeah, I'd have to be able to build a little nest egg, and have the time to work on other things after the sport. And 100K is probably that number.
But it's not fun either. It's not. You're not playing in front of 50,000 every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like it's not. You're in a hole. You're in a room, and you're weightlifting all the time for a couple of meets a year. It's not. It's it's tough work.
It's a big slog.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's not rewarding.
With all my weightlifting experiences, of course.
Yeah.
Just sounds like a tough slog.
But public perception does matter, because that's we're getting the new generation from the public, so we have to know what they're thinking. Because if it's still the old guard just thinks back to. It's like when you look back and you think, oh, well, you get back with your ex-girlfriend. You only remember the good times. You don't remember the reason why you broke up in the first place. So all these old weightlifting coaches just think about all the wins they had. They don't think about the hours and hours of self-doubt and sacrifices that they put on their end. So we do need the public perception to make sure that we do need to clean it up a little bit to make it more attractive. Put some bells and whistles in the gym. Play some fucking music.
Yeah. All right. So let's have a look at it. The final sort of bit of this. It's like, if we're not paying athletes to be athletes or paying lifters to be lifters, what's a system that works for them? What's a support system? Can we throw that figure of $45,000 into support services? Can we pay for their sports psych? Can we pay for their physio? Can we pay for their recovery? Can we throw money at trips for them? Is that a better option than giving them money?
No. Well, what are they going to do? So you're not going to pay them. You're just going to look after them. You know, how are they going to make? You got to make something. And that goes into. Oh, then you do something part time. Well, then that doesn't work, because you're not putting all your effort into weightlifting. So you're happy to be the best. You got to work. So you're happy being mediocre, or I think you'd have to have both. If you could get that number up. Even if you go 70 or 80 and then you offer the services, that's going to help them where they don't have to pay for a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Sure. Then you can start having a discussion there. But on a DAS, I don't see it. I just don't see how. How can you throw that money and they go, all right, mate, we'll come in for free. So you're not going to pay me, and I'm going to be here 7 days a week and twice a day. And then I'll work in between that. That's not sustainable. A lot of people do it, but I just don't think. I think you've got to have something to entice people to do that. Yeah,
and then don't forget about the facilities or the infrastructure. Like, who's paying the guy to coach the weightlifter who's doing it for free?
Yeah.
Because the coach isn't doing it for free. He had his chance as a lifter. Now he's probably a coach. Now he's probably living out the arsehole of his pants. How's he going to pay his bills? Yeah. So you've got to get commercial. You have to get commercial.
Well, that was the whole reason for the question. It's just to bring it all back around to, there's unrealistic expectations, I believe, of athletes and supporting federations and associations and even clubs. It's like, you're not not sure that anyone actually quite grasps what it's like to be a full-time athlete. And I'm not sure the people trying to fund full-time athletes understand what they can actually get for certain amounts of money. And it's a discussion that I'm sure we'll have over and over, but I think the end result is always going to be, let's commercialize weightlifting, let's commercialize small sport. That's where the money is, and that's where you're going to get your successful athletes out of.
Food for
anyway, I agree. There's plenty of There's plenty of former professional athletes out there that the AWF can lean on to help build a culture to step towards commercialism. There's plenty out there.
All right, so John, take us home. Who's the greatest of all time?
Jordan.
Oh, mate.
Jordan.
Thank you.
Jordan's the greatest of all time, but if I was a general manager picking someone today and I was to run an organization for 20 years, I'd pick LeBron.
Okay, so
that would be my little.
So the takeaways from that comment.
Yeah. So I'm not going to take someone to have 4 years off over 20 years. No thanks.
Okay. But what if you own the baseball team that he went to?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, what? So just watch him lose.
Still
didn't win that.
Still using his profile to sell tickets, mate. You're making money.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no. I'll stick to my guns. That's what I'd do. If I was a GM, I'd pick LeBron. Just without a doubt.
Well, I'm probably going to take my
if I wanted to win,
6 rings.
Yeah. Take him.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the money.
Yeah, well, I guess that's key.
Yeah.
If
there's anything we learned the last hour, it's money means
money talks.
Yeah.
Money talks.
You're not paying Michael Jordan 40 grand a year.
Yeah.
45 grand a year.
Not even paying 45 grand a minute.
No.
Show up to the contract signing for 45 grand.
Fucking oath. Gents, thanks for the episode. John, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for keeping the Magnum PI alive. And next time,
out of battery, so this is perfect timing.
I want to see a Hawaiian shirt, mate. Next time.
All right, boys. I'll talk.
All right. Take care.
Pleasure. Thanks, gents.
See ya.